Welcome back to Take a Break. I'm Tim Stanovic in New York. When news broke that Verkada's private customer cameras were hacked, clients wanted answers fast. The hackers breached footage from thousands of surveillance devices trained on their operations, including schools, prisons, hospitals, and companies around the world. And as questions like how did this happen arose, the company's culture came to the forefront. Former employees saying that the lax security at the company is emblematic of broader issues. Here to discuss is Bloomberg News' cybersecurity reporter, William Turton. Hey, William, thanks so much for joining us. Another great story from you and your team, really digging into the culture at Verkada. What did you learn about the employees there, the culture there, and how that could have contributed to the lack security that you reported on last month?
Well, thanks for having me. You know, what we learned is that Verkada is another of these classic startup tales of move fast and break things, right? You know, it was a culture that really prized making money and making sales and, you know, didn't prioritize having an equitable and comfortable workplace. And also, you know, as evidenced by this kind of devastating hack that we reported on a few weeks ago, you know, wasn't prioritizing security. And so, you know, the company was focused on scale and getting as many cameras out there as possible and getting as many customers as possible. But they also weren't focused on being honest with prospective customers. And, you know, that leads to what we're seeing now is essentially a company in crisis.
Okay, so share with us some of what you found in your reporting. There are some anecdotes that really stick out to me. And one is this image of employees of the company celebrating in a Casper mattress store. To the extent that they actually had to have one of the employees of the store call the customer service line to complain because, you know, they knew that they were wearing T-shirts of the company.
Right. Yeah. So they would have these kind of elaborate events for the sales team, and this one came after a sales kickoff event in 2019, where there was a scavenger hunt that eventually ended up with, you know, a bunch of Verkada employees wearing Verkada merchandise, drunkenly coming into a Casper mattress store and, you know, taking pictures and wrestling and jumping on the mattresses. And, you know, they did it all while wearing Verkada merchandise. But, you know, it kind of gets worse than that. Like, they also threw parties during the pandemic in the office without wearing masks. You know, a lot of women who work there said they felt marginalized. They've had multiple sexual harassment scandals, including one that, you know, we reported on today where an employee exposed himself to another employee at an out-of-office party who was then eventually fired. And you know, the sales team was so loud and boisterous that, you know, some of the engineers were told that they were allowed to expense noise-canceling headphones. You know, when a significant deal was made, they would, you know, bash a gong and then kind of gather in a circle and chant money over and over again. You know, it's just kind of totally tone deaf.
Yeah, but I have to ask, is this that different than what happens at other Silicon Valley startups?
Right. That's actually a great question because, you know, you could argue, you know, what's really unique about this? A lot of companies are kind of problematic in this way, and they have these boisterous young cultures. But the really important thing to remember here is that these are people who are basically creating a corporate surveillance state by selling, you know, tens of thousands of cameras that are enabled with facial recognition technology and other, you know, kind of tracking technologies. You know, they're essentially at the helm of a massive surveillance network, right?
Yeah.
And it's like these are the guys and women who are at the helm of this, and this is how they conduct themselves. I think it's very revealing.
Yeah, reading it reminded me of the early stories that we heard about companies like Uber, right, where there was this God mode that allowed employees to actually see where certain people were going. I do wonder about...
Well, and can I just say,
go ahead.
It's remarkable that they did not learn from God mode because Verkada essentially had the same thing called super admin, which is why this hack happened. The hackers got access to a super admin account, which allowed anyone for a super admin account within the company, of which there were hundreds of employees, including interns that had access, could look at the camera feeds of any of their customers.
Wow. Hey, William, I just want to end with talking a little bit about the leadership at the top here. What does it look like? Who is it? And what are they doing? And what are they telling you about diversifying?
Yeah. So the company says that they're making efforts to make the workplace more diverse and more equitable. In my reporting, a lot of employees really pointed to one of the co-founders, Hans Robertson, who had previously founded a successful technology company and sold it to Cisco for over $1 billion.
Right.
But it seems like Hans, who's kind of the chairman of the company, seems to be really involved with the day-to-day running of the company.
Bloomberg News cybersecurity reporter William Turton. William, you and your team have just done a fantastic job with reporting on this company. Thank you so much for joining us on this. I encourage everybody to check out the story.